Of course, industrial action is something that has caused more harm than good. And of course, we have a human rights activist right in the studio here who has been in the forefront of a lot of agitations for the good reasons as far as industrial actions are concerned in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, while I was speaking before his arrival, I was talking about the fact that one of the things that a lot of people are surprised about is the fact that there is a wait until there is an industrial action, not minding the implication before the reaction, and that is medicine after death. Joining me on the conversation right here on the program today is a very formidable person. He is, of course, like I said earlier, a right activist and a public affairs commentator in the person of Gerald Katchy. It's good to have you join us on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me. A very good morning to you, to our wonderful people that are viewing all over the world.
Yes. We are talking about industrial action today. We've had a lot of industrial actions, and some persons feel that industrial action just started yesterday.
When you talk about industrial action, you are talking about workers' ability to maybe disengage in their services or, protest for unfulfilled promises or poor welfare package or maybe job insecurity or political interference. And that we have seen in our country today, often and quite often. There's no regime or administration in Nigeria today that we have not experienced these acts, and they cut across all sectors of our economy. As of today, you as well can know that even as in protest, in form of industrial action strike, you go to health sector, resident doctors, and what have you. In fact, it was here in FCT, the capital of Nigeria, that we had our pupils in basic primary school, that is basic school. We are at home for almost one complete term. They just resume barely August, And if you put all of these jigsaws together, it goes to show poor governance. It goes to show lack of commitment, especially on the side of the ruling class. And if you look at some of the agitations over the years, it has to do with maybe failed promises, when workers feel that their contributions, their engagements is not commensurate to what they are taking home. They struggle with it. So if you put all of these things together, you understand that industrial action is almost a last hope for the working class, especially when they have a union association that will make it a collective action.
All right, talking about union and association now, there is often times where we have unions. There are some organizations that don't want unions at all.
Like Dangote.
I didn't call names.
Yes, I'm calling names.
There are some, no, even apart from Dangote, before Dangote refinery even came, we've heard of issue of, well, in this organization,
there are plenty. I can even mention 10 in a row. Yeah, there are organizations that don't want.
Why is it like that? Because these people are fighting for the right cause.
You see, any organization that tends to, disagree or ban workers from having a union, goes to tell you that on the surface, they claim to mean well, but in reality, they don't mean well for the workers. You understand? Because unionization is not a rebel against any employee. It is a God-given right, even though that it was enshrined in our constitution. Section 40, 39, 38, 41, and what have you. You understand? It is a fundamental right, God-given, that nobody can take away from anybody. You understand? The moment you begin to involve yourself in any organization that limits or restrain you from engaging with others, it goes to give you a very big red line. Meaning that at the beginning, it becomes this famous saying that they came for the Jews. He said, because I'm not a Jewish. They came for the labor unions. They said, because I'm not a unionist. You understand what I'm saying? That is exactly what will play out. Because at the beginning, it will appear as if they are protecting the interests of the company. But there's no way you can protect the interests of the company when the interests of the workers that make the input, that make the production, are not protected. So we have seen organizations oftentimes reject unionization of workers, reject coming together of workers, and you go to tell that they are capitalists, pure capitalists, that want to exploit, that want to suppress, that want to oppress workers.
Okay.
It's not a threat. It's never a rebellion for any organization or employee to see workers coming to. In fact, you should harness their potential through their unionization.
But then, apart from fighting for their members, what else does this union benefit the organization, apart from industrial action, mobilization of industrial action?
They help to, ensure that the policies, it's just like today we have government agencies that are meant to ensure quality control, that are meant to see that certain agreements reached with regards to registration or operation on any field or sector. Take, for example, we have a Standard Organization of Nigeria, we have NAFDAC, that ensure quality, that ensure that no fake products are in the market. But it appears like even the union are the ones that even do much more to it. Because aside welfare, protection, promotion of workers, they ensure that standards are maintained. They ensure that policy framework that they agreed upon is sustained. So it's a win-win for us. It's not just that they protect the worker but take, for example, in the energy sector. Oftentimes we have seen that even those that suppose that is expected to carry the interests of the masses are strong. It's always the organized labor that push for the interests of the people. In the energy sector, we have 4 refineries in Nigeria where we have spent billions of dollars. None is working. Whereas we have organizations that are supposed to put check and balances, to follow up, to see where all those monies they spent, where those things. It was recently we saw a report in the media where they say that Dangote refineries are complaining that in recent times, these past few months he has operated, there have been efforts to sabotage the refinery. It goes to show you, if not is a private owned refinery, what we are facing in those sectors. I mean, in the 4 refineries owned by government. He was able to dictate these issues because it's private owned refineries. That is, he's working, he's determined to see succeed. That's exactly what tells you what happens in other sectors. Those ones owned by government. Oftentimes we have seen here during the subsidy regime, they tell you subsidy scam, this, that, and this. You ask yourself, those that are doing those scams, are they ghosts? Are they abstracts? That you can't see them, you can't touch them? It's people within the system. So union helps to expose shoddy dealings. Union help to ensure that there's confidence in investors. Unlike what we have, where governments can wake up and make a policy that at the end of the day affects the interests of the workers without adequate consultation. We have seen it oftentimes play out. They just make policies after thoughts. When unions push that we are the implementers of these policies you are pushing, we are the ones that will carry it out, but you are doing it without consulting us. And by doing this, look at the implications and consequences. It may not be tenable, and you will see them doing maybe damage control, coming back to to see how they can control what they. So I think union is key to any development. In fact, that is democracy in practice. It shouldn't be that you just sit because you are the commander or dictator or what have you at your office or agency. You just decide whatever you think in your mind and you push out without contribution from others.
Oh, all right. We've extensively looked at the causes of these strike actions. Now, something always happens. We're talking about national development here and the implication of these industrial actions. One, anytime there is an industrial action or a protest for grievances to be passed across to the people in authority, there is this call for a meeting. Why do you think the government wait until there is a protest or industrial action before reaction? Are they not mindful of national development?
This is what you get from any government that is not prepared to lead. They are always on impulse. That is, they are reactive to action. They are not proactive. A proactive government will make appointments or select those working with them based on merit. These are think tanks that we propose, innovate, invent, preempt before they carry out. And that's we give room to proper consultation in any policy. But in Nigeria, even when they carry a policy and you write to them, you speak to them, you talk to them, you shout, nobody will hear you until either industrial action or protest before they will listen to you. And that is a signal that our nation is tainted towards weak governance. Because a strong governance does not need people to react before you do the right thing. You do not need workers to react before you do the right thing. You do not need workers to come out to raise their voices before you begin to do explanation. In the past 6 months, this year alone, there's hardly no month you go to Ministry of Finance, you will not see different sets of old people, either from the military or the police retirees or civil servants carrying out one form of protest or the other. You go to National Assembly, it's almost on a weekly basis, you will see them there. Different. So it goes to tell that government we have is government that are reacting. If it's a government that are proactive, they will preempt some of these things, engage the leaders, either at the pension level or those that are actors in these areas, and see how they can explain to them what we have done, what we are doing, what we intend to do, and why we are lagging with regards to maybe ensuring that the benefits of those that have labored in this country are paid. But they wait until maybe when people react, when people take actions, that's when they will respond. So it goes to show that any government, either at subnational or at the center, that indulges in such, simply show that the leadership in that area is not prepared. Because if you are prepared, you will carry everything along. When you carry it along, before you even hit the street, you are already on top of the situation.
All right. What all of these actions, all of these things coming from the federal government and industrial action, because now you already spoke about the issue of being reactive and not proactive. Then we were also talking about the issue of industrial actions. We looked at the causes. Now, can we look at the implication on national development? What happens? How does it affect us as a
affects
people?
almost every facet of our life. In fact, the number one thing it does is that it projects our image in a bad light in the economic of nation and the global stage. And it weakens confidence, trust, especially investors. It affects because most people that suffers whenever there's industrial actions are the downtrodden. Majority are the Nigerian masses, not the ruling class. So it affects the health, the transport, the education, everything you can think of in the system. For example, a situation where you have a child in a government-owned tertiary education, maybe called university, college of education, polytechnic, etc., and you are to do a course that will last 4 years. and you are projecting, okay, this course that's supposed to last 4 years, maybe tuition fee, maybe ABC, and perhaps accommodation and other miscellaneous, DEF. And your projection, you expect that before they will get to I, this child must have completed whatever you are projecting. And at the end of the day, you see that the child will be even getting to WYNZ because of issues of non-implementation of agreements, issues of industrial actions that maybe the actors are pushing for those parties like government to implement, to honor. You see that a course of 4 years, if care is not taken, will take you up to 6 years. You see that if you are projecting that your ward will go to maybe polytechnic and you are making budget of 500,000 for that 4 years or 3 years, as the case may be, you see that you spend over 1.something million. So it affects almost all spheres of our life. You come to health. When it comes to emergencies, sometime ago, sometime this year, sometime May or thereabouts, I was sick. I was rushed to General Hospital, and I was told that the resident doctors were on strike. I had to revert to private. So if maybe I don't have what it takes or capacity to go to private hospital, and my case is critical, what do you think will happen? You understand? So it affects almost everything. For those that are into business, maybe imagine you are going out for a business deal, and maybe you are trapped as a result of industrial action. You couldn't move from one point to another point. It affects almost. So it goes to tell you that governance at that stage is at the low ebb, and it fuels opposition, because opposition certainly will use it against the ruling class. And that is why some of us from the left are calling that ensuring that we hold to accountable every government that is ruling, to be proactive. You don't wait until things happen. For example, now we are calling for the welfare of all security personnel to be upgraded, so that it will reduce these plenty checkpoints that you see people extorting in one way or the other. We are calling for a review of a minimum wage that they are paying that is not even taking anybody anywhere. You understand? We are calling for a review of bills that are being raised at the energy sector, where that almost every 4 months you will hear from either Minister for Power or maybe NAC or what have you, telling you that they are paying subsidy, because in that power, in that sector, it's almost every time we hear we are paying for subsidy, we are doing this, we are doing that. But in reality, you are not seeing it. Because some of the things they engage on, which is one of the things that cause crisis, when they were privatizing energy, especially power, they told Nigerians that those distributing companies like AEDC, EEDC, KJDisco, what have you, that they will be providing prepaid meters free. They will take care of issues of whether it's transformer, high tension, what have you. But in reality, that's not the case. For you to have prepaid meter in your house, you have to pay. Now they use trickish that even if you pay, they will structure it into the meter. You know, it's easy to deceive people using vocabulary. You understand? It's part of the things there, because assuming that we are engaging in this kind of conversations or dealings in our own local language, you can dictate it very, very easily. But when they use English, they confuse even the educated. So they will confuse people that they will structure it into your payment, which how it goes, you don't know. All you need is just you want to have power supply in your home. Now they come to issue of transformer. Take for example, where I live in Buhari, we are not making use of electricity for the past 1 month. as a result of our transformer that got damaged. Earlier this year, got damaged. We spent almost 3.2 million naira to fix it. That week we fixed it. Less than 2 days, we saw them with their ladders, disconnecting, connecting, collecting their money. It has spoiled again now. Perhaps they are waiting for us to go around to every household to collect money and to fix it again for them to come and
collect money.
So if you see people on the streets tomorrow carry placards, you may not understand. And that is where I find it absurd to see that those that are in the trenches with us, that are suffering with us, like the police officers, that their children are going to the same school we are going. They attend the same hospital we go for. When we protest for accountability, you begin to see them throwing tear gas at people. You understand? And it goes to tell that we have different reactions to different groups, making it to look that even some of the calls some people are calling, like likes of Showore, whenever you see him with his group, he say revolution now, which we are seeing similarity in Cameroon now going on. You begin to radicalize peaceful movements, civil movements. If you are simply pushing people to radicalize every movement they want to do, because only three that you want to you tell you cut, you cut. When people that are not armed, you are suppressing them, and the ones that are armed, you are having peace deal with them and possibly handshake with them and photograph with them.
There is a problem. There is a problem. Well, I wish we could have enough time to actually continue, but then the second conversation is waiting. Industrial action, and we are looking at the implication and the causes for us and the implication, and of course, Comrade has done justice to that. I wish we could have more time. Well, we'll be having him more often on the issues, because the issues is a program that will be coming up very soon, where we look at these pertinent issues. And of course, a very big thank you to you, Comrade Katchy, for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. I just pray that our people, I will have a listening president. I pray that he will continue to listen and possibly expand his resume of listening, so that he will begin to accommodate some of this, so that it will be nipped at the bud before it will escalate. Because the rate we are going now is not impressive, especially when there is suppression of decent voices, when you try to push for accountability. Because this topic we are discussing about implications, causes of industrial, is one of the things that make civil servants to soil their hands. You begin to see pattern in budget, because when you see that your take home cannot take you home, and if you raise your voice, they will suppress you or tear gas you. You want anything that comes to your table, you want to settle yourself before patriotism comes forward.
That's a major problem. Well, that's a major problem. That's a piece of advice to the people in authority. Many thanks for joining us for this very first conversation. Let's go to a quick break. After this break, the second conversation will be coming up. Stay with us.